Here's a real world example of a founder mistake that I would like you to avoid. Oftentimes, starters and founders are friends or family or work colleagues, very close relationships where on a golf course or in a coffee shop, they decide, okay, we have this great idea, let's start this business. And they avoid the legal documentation and all of those questions because it's built on a relationship of trust. And that is the foundation, and it's a great foundation. However, when things go wrong, you want the legal protections in place, and it will help everybody because inevitably life will happen. One founder could go through a divorce. One founder could get a better option somewhere else, stop working, and still claim that they owned their proportionate share. So the first thing that you want to do is establish an LLC with your other members. That sets up a separate legal entity which will protect all of you with respect to your personal assets. The other thing that you need to put in place is the actual operating agreement. Without that, there aren't any rules with respect to how your company is run, which would really trip you up. So I will go into some examples there. Just with respect to the founders. Later videos, I'll go into other issues that you could face, but just amongst yourself, having an LLC and the operating agreement will prevent a lot of uncomfortable issues. Have the uncomfortable conversations now so that you can avoid really expensive mistakes, including but not limited to lawsuits, loss of friendships. The emotional toll is there, so it's better to address it from the front end. And I understand it's uncomfortable. It's basically saying, I don't trust you, let's get this documented. However, it is important to protect everybody. In fact, it could end up protecting the other person. So the best thing to do is just to say, hey, let's make sure that everything's buttoned up. Let's get legal in place so that we can have legal keep up with us while we're growing so we can focus on our business. Again, I want to go through a couple provisions in your LLC that will really help you so that you can understand why this document is so important. So one of which will say, who can control the company? Is it one member? Is it separately managed by another? We go into voting rights. What happens in the scenario where it's two members and you both think it's 50-50? There's a deadlock there, right? One wants to sell, one doesn't want to sell. The mechanism isn't in place and there's a deadlock, and then the company could stall, which means that you aren't making revenue. In addition, within that document, it will have transfer restrictions to enable a member to be able to sell their interest. As well, there will be provisions in the document with respect to selling the company when the members want to sell. All of these provisions are really important to think about on the front end as opposed to the back end. I know it seems like it might be more beneficial to do it as you grow along, but it's better to keep pace with it as well as reduce any ambiguities amongst the members. Again, I understand it's a very close relationship, very common scenario of, oh, we're buddies, we decided this, and this is going to go somewhere, and we'll worry about legal catching up later. But unfortunately, sometimes legal can't catch up later because things happen. And if you didn't have an agreement in place, you could already be facing a lawsuit with respect to who owns what, who did what. I want to strongly reiterate that you need to, as a founder, establish a separate LLC and to establish rules. The operating agreement under that LLC is essentially a rule book explaining what everyone can do and what everyone cannot do. If you don't have an agreement in place or an LLC in place, you're really putting your business at risk unnecessarily, especially when you could just spend time with an attorney, hammer out those issues, and prevent a lot of disputes later on so that you can continue to grow and make that dough. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help.